Hi there, welcome back and welcome to the new restoration project. This is something I've been looking forward to for some time. I have a fascination with these really small tube radios, and this one is the smallest I've seen, or at least that I've had in my hands so far. I've had a small one before, a Goldie, Schoblerens Goldie 58, but this one is a Telefunken Jubilate 6 from around, I believe it's 57. It came to me very recently, and it is in pretty good shape and also offers a feature which most of the small radios I've seen around Madeira especially don't have, and that is that it comes with FM. This one's got long wave, medium wave and FM, and as you may know if you've seen my videos, I'm a fanatic for FM because I believe these radios should be used daily. So a bit of damage especially on that front grille. A few cracks and one piece is missing, but I'm sure we can sort that out. It'll be an interesting challenge. Other than that, the cosmetic condition is in very, very good shape. The woodwork is perfect. There's no chips, no dings. The varnish obviously needs touching up, but I may actually sand this all the way down to the wood. We'll have to see how I feel at the time. I think it'll be worth it, and probably not as much work as some of the other ones I've done. The back is fairly plain, as you can see, also in perfect condition. Not much indicated on here. We have on the left there the antenna ports, antenna inputs for a dipole or a single antenna. We also have the input at the bottom there. That is for a gramophone, and you select between gramophone and radio with that toggle switch. There's also the voltage selector. And then we come to the back. Take the back off, and the first little surprise greets us, and that is an original service, or rather schematic. I always find these very neat because they can be so helpful. In some cases you can't really find the schematic online. It's not the case with this particular model. I've actually found it with service information. But having the original schematic as part of the radio, I think, is brilliant. I always enjoy seeing these original schematics. This one is in practically perfect condition. Obviously hasn't been opened much, a bit of a stain there, but nothing much at all. And it's all there. It's all there. Everything you may want to know. And then everything you will see scares the hell out of you. This thing is compact. It's got everything is stuck into a very small space. So your precision work has to be top notch over here. You have to be extra careful. It's got 3 IF cans, it seems, which is a bit unusual. Filter cap over there, antenna selector over there. There's just a hell of a lot of stuff in a very small space, which brings its own challenges. There's the FM can at the back there, a shielded speaker, perfect condition, not that big, but that should be fine. Transformer over there. And yeah, the challenge awaits. I've got to get my tweezers out and do things very precisely. Keep watching. I'll be right back. Right, so we've got this thing out of the cabinet, and this one is rather different. It doesn't actually have screws in at the bottom. It slides off those rails, and it poses a bit of a problem for me because I can't fit this into my usual contraption, which allows me to work on it more freely, but we'll get around that. Anyway, first things first, we've got to detach this thing from the chassis, and to do that, all I've got to do is cut off 2 wires, the speaker wire over here, we'll just snip that. That is on the last one, I've got to remember that, and then the ground wire, which is the one that goes down there. And after I've snipped that off, I can get the cabinet out of the way. So here it is, out of the cabinet. It actually holds quite well over here. It'll have to, because I'm going to have to work on this without that, without the stand that I normally tie this up to. And again, here we get a good view of just how compact this stuff is. Very little space over here. Here's the FM can. Rather unusual for me. This is an ECC 81 tube, that one there. Usually in the FM, I'm quite accustomed to seeing an ECC 85. And if I look at the schematic, we then have an ECH 81, which is quite normal. We have that IF amplifier is an EF 41. The more usual one is EF 89, but that should be okay. EABC 80, come across those before quite a bit. And then that is an EL 41 power tube. It's the predecessor to the EL 84. Very, well, quite small output transformer. There are a few of these capacitors that are going to have to go. Things like that, like that, like that. That one's actually, well, you can sort of see it from the side. It's sort of melting. But everything is in very, very good shape. There's a lot of dust on here, but it's in pretty good condition all around. And it will definitely clean up very, very well. This is the filter capacitors. It serves as a base for the stand that holds the ferrite antenna. So at the top here, lots of cleaning, not much else, a few caps, and then obviously checking component values. But as we have the schematic, that should be easy. What do we have on the side here? This is the entry point to the FM can. Usually you have a couple of resistors. There's a cap here as well, but that's a polystyrene one. That shouldn't have gone off. The dial cords are fine. Lots of dust and dirt, but that's not a problem. This has got two. This is the FM tuning. You can see it turning there. It goes to the FM can. And the outside one is the AM tuning, which turns the tuning capacitor inside, which is obviously on the underside, and that's for the AM. Now I did come across a little bit of a surprise here, and that is to do with this transformer. I never thought this would have any risk of the chassis becoming connected to mains. And it so happens that it does. And the way I found out actually was by looking at a video on a particular, or on an exact radio like this one done by TRX Bench. And for the first time I noticed something. If you look at the schematic over here, the transformer, one leg of the transformer, that bottom one, goes straight to the mains. You've got the switch over here, comes in through a fuse, one side of the transformer, and then that's your ground. In other words, if you connect this, depending on how you connect this into your mains, you could have live on the chassis, because our plugs in Portugal are not polarized. Well, that is a bit of a disappointment, I must say. I am pretty afraid of these hot chassis sets. I've actually done an adaptation which warns you if it's hot chassis. I'll have to put that in here. There's an alternative, and that is that I can actually replace this transformer to a full power transformer. As I mentioned, everything is very, very compact in here. Very tightly spaced, very little space in here. And there are quite a few caps that need changing. This here, there's a electrolytic. That'll probably be for the FM discriminator. You've got another electrolytic at the bottom. That'll be the cathode bypass cap for the output tube. Paper caps over there. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. This is easy to get to, but not many of those. Another one over there. Easy to get to. There's a couple. There's one there as well. Some over there. A bit of cleaning. There's another one down here. Looks like an electrolytic. So there are not that many capacitors that need changing in here. Some of these, like that one there, that's a polystyrene one. Those things normally don't lose value, don't drift, don't leak. But the others all have to go. And I have a feeling, just like our friend at TRX Bench did, I'll have to remove some of these resistors to get to the capacitors. which is a real pain in the butt. Also, the one thing that's going to be difficult to do here, which I normally like to do, is I normally like to follow the entire schematic and test every single connector, every single point, because usually I can reach them. I may have to actually do just a swap and test on this. In other words, swap out those capacitors, test it, and see if it works. And when it doesn't, and then I'll have to focus on that part of the circuit that needs attention. I'll have to think about this. Anyway, that's just a quick view of what we're facing. My tone has changed. I think you might have noticed, and that has to do with the fact that this particular one is a hot chassis set. They always scare the hell out of me. We work on 230 volts over here, and getting zapped with 230 volts is not fun. Now, there is really no metal that's actually protruding from the radio. Everything is inside the radio, but, you know, if you connect an antenna and you connect the ground lead of the antenna and happen to touch that, you get zapped if this thing's connected the wrong way around. If you connect a gramophone, or like I normally do, the Bluetooth version, a Bluetooth input over here, that could be a problem because one of those could be mains voltage. So I'll have to think about how to go about this. Obviously, the first stage is restore the radio and get it working. I'm not sure if it's working. I have no idea. As per usual, I don't want to mess around with it till I've changed a few critical capacitors, because these tubes aren't as common as the ones I'm used to. And the EL41 is not as common as the EL84, for example. So I don't want to blow that. Yeah, I'll have to think about what to do later. But for now, the work is cut out. I'll have to just start looking into how to get to those components that are sitting down in the bottom of that bloody nest down there. Anyway, I'll get back as soon as I have something new to report.